Formula One has said they plan to hold meetings with Netflix and their drivers to talk about Drive to Survive fake drama. The show has been controversial for the way it edits footage together. How much does each team receive for appearing in the show? And which team boss said he would fight his rival? Stay tuned for all that and more coming right up. Creative license. All documentaries used editing to build a story, and we are used to seeing it now in reality television. But when it is easy to prove that something didn't happen, it's a little less convincing, and that's exactly what happened with Drive to Survive. The producers have tried to over-dramatize Formula One to make it as addictive as possible, but sometimes the show blatantly pairs audio with video that is not connected. The best way for the show to build a story is to create rivalries between drivers. It built up a rivalry between McLaren teammates Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo. The two drivers are known as pranksters around the paddock, and so many fans were surprised to see how they were portrayed as enemies who were fighting each other on and off track. After the season aired, Carlos said that Netflix went a bit too far with creating a storyline between the two McLaren drivers. The storyline was surprising because the two are known for their close relationship. They have been nicknamed Carlando and have spent a lot of time together in their personal time away from work. It wasn't Carlos's first experience being misrepresented on the show, as it also tried to build up a rivalry between himself and Daniel Ricciardo. Clips were put together of the two drivers battling on track along with some interview footage to make it seem more serious than it was. But even when they had tough battles on track, the rivals have always expressed their respect for one another. They are two of the nicest guys on the grid, and so to see them as enemies in Drive to Survive is unnatural. Save the drama for Max and Lewis, Netflix. Leave Daniel and Carlos alone. Made for TV. The drivers have good reason to be worried about Netflix. The series has shaped how they are perceived by the public, and it may now even be influencing races. At the end of last year, the whole season came down to one race. The championship decider controversial played out on the final lap of the race. Michael Masi, the race director, ignored the regulations in what the FIA have described as human error. In case you've been living under a rock, this error essentially guaranteed Max Verstappen the race win, and with it, the world championship. The race was an epic finish to a dramatic season, and the fans knew it. Over 100 million people watched the race and dominated the news all around the world for weeks. Fans who had just started watching recently were getting familiar with the Formula One sporting regulations, a thick 90-page document that only F1 professionals normally look at. Some of the drivers spoke up about how the ending of the race felt like it was for entertainment purposes rather than sport. Lando Norris said that it was obviously made to be a fight. It was for the TV, of course, and that it wasn't for him to decide whether or not it was fair. Everyone has their own opinion on the race ending, and the FIA are hoping to move on after they removed Michael Masi from his position and replaced him with two alternating race directors. So far, there haven't been any incidents. Let's hope it stays that way. New audience. Drive to Survive was watched for 28 million hours in just 1 week in March. People are tuning in for the drama, the excitement, and the competition, but more than anything, for the drivers. Formula One is definitely a team sport, but it's hard to see that from outside looking in. That's why so many fans follow individual drivers instead of teams, and this focus on drivers' personalities has attracted many new fans. Audiences love to find a driver that they like and root for them. On Twitter, Team Lewis Hamilton and fans of Max Verstappen argue over who is better, but for newer fans, people like Daniel Ricciardo, George Russell, and Pierre Gasly have received a lot of attention. Liberty Media bought Formula One in 2016, and it led in a new direction. The company has been trying to gain the attention of younger viewers for years, and Netflix was perfect for this. It has also been great for increasing the popularity in the United States, which has been a target market for F1 for a long time. After the Netflix effect, F1 just announced that it will have 3 races in the United States in 2023. They will be held in Austin, Miami, and Las Vegas. The last time F1 raced in Las Vegas was in 1981. I'm sure the drivers are looking forward to the afterplay there. You know what they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What's the real drama in the paddock? Which team boss wants to fight another team boss? And how much do each team get paid for appearing in the show? Don't go anywhere to find out what Netflix have promised. If all of your employees have the same complaint, then you have to do something. After all the drama and with the backlash coming from many of the drivers, Formula One has finally been forced to act. The F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali has said that he will hold discussions with the drivers to make sure that the drivers who feel that they are being misrepresented can feel more comfortable participating in the show. He also said that they would also talk to Netflix and make sure that the story does not move away from reality. Domenicali stressed that the series had been very important for the sport. It has attracted a much wider audience by making F1 accessible and exciting to everyone. So it looks like Netflix will be sticking around for a little longer, and Verstappen might even be forced to participate. But Netflix could have even more influence over the sport in the future. Netflix have said they are in a position to possibly buy Formula One if it came up for sale. This would give all the streaming and licensing rights to the streaming giant. Can you imagine tuning into Netflix to watch the races? That would be a bargain. How the drivers feel. The whole show depends on the cast of 20 drivers that compete in F1, but what do they think? Max Verstappen has been the most vocal out of any of the drivers in criticizing the show. He has said that the rivalries are faked, and this show tries to build build tension between drivers even when they have good relationships. And after season 4 was released, he said that the editing made Lando Norris look like a bit of a dick. Verstappen doesn't think that's fair, especially because for a lot of new fans, this will be their first impression of him. That's a pretty good reason for Lando not to approve of the show, and he doesn't. He thinks that Netflix created a narrative by putting scenes together that didn't happen. Ferrari driver Carlos Sainz agrees with Lando that the show had taken a lot of things out of context, but he was more optimistic about the future and said that Netflix is capable of correcting and judging mistakes. So, with so many of the drivers speaking out against the show, it might be difficult for Netflix to get the support of their cast, but it might not matter. Drivers are known for disliking their media responsibilities. All they want to do is drive. But if they sit through the interviews and press conferences as well, they risk big fines and consequences. For now, cooperation with Netflix is on a team-by-team basis. For the first season of Drive to Survive, it was reported that Mercedes and Ferrari received $1 million each, despite not even being a part of it. But this could soon change, and Formula One might embrace Netflix as part of each driver's media commitments. That means that Verstappen would either have to give interviews or face a very hefty fine. But hey, with a $50 million contract, he could probably afford to stick by his principles and pay a fine. The real drama. Why create drama when there already is so much? Formula One has always been full of controversy, gossip, and slander. Verstappen has been boycotting the Netflix show for the last 2 years because he doesn't agree with how it presents things. But his boss, Christian Horner, is there to provide all the Red Bull commentary that the show needs. He invites the show into his home and talks at length about the rivalry he feels towards Mercedes and their team principal, Toto Wolff. It serves as a good substitute for hearing Max's opinion on Lewis Hamilton. Horner says that Toto might feel that he provokes and antagonizes him sometimes, but that comes with the job description. Many times throughout the show, Horner throws jabs at his Mercedes rivals. In an interview with both Wolff and Horner later in the series, Horner says that there is no relationship between Red Bull and Mercedes. At one point, he even says that he could take Toto in a fight. I don't know about that, Christian. Have you seen the size of Toto? Do you think that Drive to Survive is good for the sport? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more F1 content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.